we've never had anything like it. I mean,
Dr. Marvin Minsky.
History repeats itself, and when anything new happens, it's not really new. But I think the computer is really new. There's never been a intelligent artifact before. There's never been a box that could understand things. And computers can't understand anything yet, really, but they're getting there. And I think in the 21st century, we'll have something really new.
Computer technology is our fastest growing science. In the imaginations of futurists, the possibilities are truly incredible.
Maybe 45 years, possibly less, there will be a major evolutionary step which will take place, not only in computers, but in the evolution of man. It will be possible at that time, I believe, to have a computer, a small chip, surgically implanted in the brain of a person, not unlike today's pacemaker or other such device. And this chip will receive its power from the body. It will be a very, very capable computer. It will be man and machine working together. A person could, just by thinking about it, have at his disposal the equivalent of the entire contents of the Library of Congress or all of the works of Shakespeare. A scientist could, a doctor looking for a solution to a difficult problem, could have at his disposal all of the work done by all of the other scientists working on similar projects. The final result then is the most important step in the evolution of man in 1,000,000 years or perhaps ever. It is really the beginning of a new species.
The fact that you can get all...
I now believe that we've located or identified the major genetic control area that regulates aging. And if in the future we can learn how to stimulate this or otherwise control it, we may be able to increase lifespan substantially.
Dr. Roy Walford, professor of pathology at UCLA. Like other medical researchers, Dr. Walford is convinced that the great medical discoveries of the future will be the result of our ability to understand and manipulate our genetic code. These long strands, called chromosomes, are made up of over 50,000 units called genes. Acting as nature's computer, they're programmed with each of the body's characteristics, from the color of our eyes to our immunity to disease. If Dr. Walford is correct, then the location of the gene site that controls the aging mechanism may be within our grasp.
We might enjoy
Dr. Edward
better
Cornish.
health. We could rejuvenate ourselves. Well, I think we also could experience stronger bodies. We could be more intelligent. We might be more beautiful than we are now. And I think that all these things are technologically feasible. Now, that does not mean we have the technology to do all that today, but you can easily see by relatively modest projections of what's happening in medical technology that in the 21st century, a lot of this would really become possible.
Genetics research has produced amazing results. Some of the secrets have already been revealed. We are at the point now where we can perform minor cell surgery and even inject healthy genes into diseased tissue. Perhaps the most promising technique for gene manipulation lies in the area of electrical stimulation. As the experiments continue, scientists may learn to stimulate the genes that control our aging. What will it mean to live longer?
If people begin living to be 120, 150, or 180, you'll have many unforeseen and, in my view, positive social effects. For example, if you increase lifespan by decelerating the rate of aging, then all of the diseases of aging are postponed till a much later age, so that cancer, heart disease, stroke, and so forth, instead of occurring as they do now at about the age 65, will be occurring at the age 130, 140. So by decelerating the rate of aging, you in effect cure all of these diseases at one stroke for the age group at which they now occur. They will have many sociological effects that I don't think we can realize right now. People will be into having multiple careers. They spend 20 or 30 years in a present career and have to be re-educated through a revamped, retooled educational system to go on to other careers. A lot of people would choose to do that now. Women, for example, if you extend lifespan, you also extend the childbearing age, so that it'd be quite feasible then to be having children when you're 60, 70, or 80, which means that the women could have a whole career before they get into raising a family if they want to do that. They don't have to make that hard choice that a lot of career women are faced with in the present society. How old would people be if we could stop the aging process entirely? How long would people live? The answer is about 600 years. If you keep the accident rate the same, if you still think about a survival curve, if you keep the accident rate the same as it is today, but stop everybody from aging and cure all diseases, then the maximum lifespan would be about 600 years. Some kind of an accident would get you by that time.
The medical and technological advances of the 21st century will greatly increase our mental and physical capabilities. Where will we take them?
1, fire.
We have already taken our first tentative steps into outer space. Slowly, we are learning how to adapt to this entirely new environment. Our concept of the universe is changing. As it does, our concept of ourselves and our place in the universe is also changing. Futurists see current space explorations as more than just another new technology, rather a natural expression of our survival instinct. The colonization of outer space will ensure the survival of the human species. Today, we are rehearsing the construction of colonies in space. In these underwater tanks at NASA labs, the problems of construction in a weightless environment are anticipated and resolved before the work actually begins. Some of the techniques discovered here have already been put into practical use by our astronauts.
One of the things that I spend some time on is working on new ways of getting off the planet. A group of friends of mine and I are working on a new way to launch very heavy loads into space cheaply. And I believe that if we can get these things to work, then it's practical to build houses, cities in space.
In a lab at Princeton University, a working scale model of the machine that could solve some of the problems of large-scale space construction has been developed. It is called a mass driver. Futurist Dr. Gerard O'Neill of the Space Studies Institute.
This is the bucket of a mass driver electric motor. The bucket carries a payload of lunar material, and it's accelerated by these magnetic coils with an acceleration that's more than 100 times as fast as the hottest drag racer ever made. When the bucket and its payload get to the full speed of 8,000 miles per hour, the payload is released and goes out into space, and the bucket is recirculated for reuse. So if you were to look at a mass driver in operation, you'd see that stream of payloads like water coming out of a fire hose off into space. And this is how it works. We can use the mass driver as a catapult to bring thousands of tons per year of lunar material into space. There we can process it using solar energy into oxygen that we can breathe, into silicon that we can make into solar cells, and into big structures, space industries, space power stations, or space colonies. Industries and colonies in space may sound incredible, but we who are working toward them know that most of the building blocks are already in place. For less than the investment in the Alaskan pipeline, we could make these things happen before the year 2000.
The future holds many possibilities. With the technologies available to us, what that future will be is now a matter of choice. If our destiny lies in outer space, it may be, as philosopher Eric Hoffer stated, man is a stranger on this planet. The seed of man originated amongst the stars. Does this explain our preoccupation with the heavens, the stars, and the gods?
Coming up next on FBI, The Untold Stories, agents take on a Cleveland bank robber who's threatening to blow up his hostages. Then on History's Crimes and Trials, the movie turned them into romantic heroes, but this is the real story of cold-blooded killers Bonnie and Clyde.